So, welcome. I'm Dr. RJ, licensed clinical psychologist. And today we're going to be talking about procrastination. So, how to go from a procrastinator to a producer. I know many of us have busy days and we're like, oh, at the end of the day, did I get anything done? Did I get anything done at all? And so, I'm going to give you some tips on how to get past that. So, all right, let me multitask. Welcome. Let's turn this thing off. I'm trying something new. Okay. I'm kind of giggling at myself because I'm trying something new. I love to try new things, even though that means like I can't necessarily predict or control what's going to happen. But nevertheless, welcome. You're in the right place. We're talking about procrastination. And so let's just get right into it. Again, I'm Dr. RJ, licensed clinical psychologist, and I help busy professionals, executives eliminate stress, anxiety, and burnout so that they can live the best lives, their very best lives, or the lives that they've worked so hard to build. All right, so let's jump into, I guess I'll do my notes next. I don't know. Let's see what I want to do next. I took some notes about procrastination. Let's just get into it. All right, so types of procrastinator. So I want you to think about this and say, okay, what type am I? Because we're all a little bit of this or a little bit of that, but mainly, I bet you'll fall into one of these categories. So the first type of procrastinator is the thrill seeker, right? It's the I work better under pressure. I'm going to do this just a couple hours before it needs to be done. It's like the overachiever, perfectionist, high performer kind of person who is the thrill seeker. So are you a thrill seeker? Let me know. Like, is that your type of procrastination? The next type of procrastinator is the avoider, right? That's the I'll do it later. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it when all the stars are aligned and everything is perfect. I'll get it done then. So are you an avoider? So first there's the thrill seeker, and then there is the avoider. Are you an avoider? And the last one is the snowman, and not like Jeezy the snowman, but like the snowman where you're actually frozen. I don't know. I can't decide. So 3 types of procrastinators: the thrill seeker, which is doing things at the very last minute, or I work better under pressure. Then there's the avoider. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it later. I'll do it another day. And then the snowman. I don't know. I can't decide. And this person is usually frozen. So if you find yourselves in one of these categories, no worries, you're in the right place. I got you. So we're going to do some easy to use strategies that you can start doing today if you want to reduce procrastinating. Now, the reality is that all of you don't want to stop procrastinating, and that's okay. Like, you can still listen, that's cool. But some of you deep down inside really love the thrill of procrastination. You like that dopamine rush of the last minute. I can get this done. I'm not into that, but listen, if that's how you get your thrills or whatever. I don't think your therapist would love that. And as a therapist, I definitely don't love that because it comes at a cost. It increases anxiety and increases stress. However, if that's you, then it's fine. But for the rest of you who really want some strategies on how to eliminate procrastination, or at least start working towards a better system, then hang on, I got some things for you. So let me go to my notes. I took some notes. This is what I wanted to say about procrastination. So procrastination is different from laziness. I work with some really awesome high-level executives, physicians, entrepreneurs, CEOs, all the things, and they are not lazy at all. So it's not laziness that causes procrastination. It is usually some level of anxiety or stress. So let's talk about anxiety a little bit. What type of anxiety is related to procrastination? It's the perfectionist. Like, am I going to get this right? Am I going to do this right? Am I doing it good enough? right? So that perfectionism. The other type of anxiety is when I'm finished with this, then I got to do something else. And so it's the anxiety of having too many things to do. The other type of anxiety could just be, well, what does this mean? Or what will they think once I submit this project or do this thing or complete this task, right? And so it's all linked to some level of anxiety or stress. And again, because I'm a clinical psychologist, I'm here to help you all with that. So I wanted to talk about a couple of myths about procrastination and productivity. One of them is that you should be motivated to do the things, right? High performers should be self-motivated. You should get up in the morning and like want to do the things. And I'll tell you that's not really a thing. Some people will fight me on that. Whatever. I'm letting you know from my years and years and years and years of experience as a clinical psychologist who works with high performing executives, that motivation is not required to get things done. Let's talk about an example. I am never motivated to work out, like ever, right? However, the reason that I get it done is because it's on my schedule. It's on my calendar. It's part of my routine. It has nothing to do with motivation, with me wanting to do the right thing or wanting to just do better. Same thing about drinking water. I know I'm supposed to drink water all day, every day. I'm not really motivated to do it. So how do I do it? I set a routine. I make myself drink lime water while I'm here in Mexico out of my canister that I love. And so that makes me drink water. I know when it's empty. I know when it's time to fill up. So motivation is a myth. You don't need motivation to get things done. You don't need motivation to eliminate or minimize procrastination. Okay? What you do need is a routine and some good old-fashioned discipline. Motivation is not necessary. All right. The next thing that's sort of a myth or that freezes us or that keeps us from getting things done is this whole, like, it has to be perfect. So I'm from Generation X, where everything was measured. All of your grades are in the grade book. You get gold stars for doing all the things, and everything was on display. Right. And so I'll say for us, part of our issue is because things are on display, we want them to be perfect. So we get frozen, we get stuck. We're like, it's not perfect. I can't release this. I can't do this. No. But let me free you. Done is better than perfect. Okay. Sit with that for a second. Done is better than perfect. Now, I get pushback on that sometimes, but I'll tell you this. Often when we think that these small details people are looking for that will make something perfect, they don't even notice them. And then we get all mad and we're like, they didn't even notice. I put all the work in, that sort of thing. I shouldn't say we, I should say me. Because I remember being like that. Like, I plan an event, let's say family Thanksgiving, and I wanted it to be perfect. So I wait until the last minute, do all the things, stress myself out. And then it's like, child, nobody even noticed those monogram napkins. Like, nobody noticed, nobody even used them, right? And so when we're thinking about perfection and doing tasks, it's often an imagined standard that we have set for ourselves. So done is better than perfect. If you're a note taker, if you are someone who likes to quote things, if you write things down in your journal, I want you to write that down right now for tomorrow. Done is better than perfect. Now, I'm not saying be slack. I'm not saying turn in some raggedy work. I'm not saying do things that are below par or subpar. I'm saying get rid of this notion of perfectionism because it's not helpful, it's false, and it's just going to freeze you. I know a lot of creators fall into this. They may get stuck into perfectionism, and so they don't release their art, they don't release their music, they don't release their thing. And then somebody else comes along who's kind of whack or mediocre, and they blow up, and it's whatever. It's because done is better than perfect, right? So just keep that in your mind. So the first thing we said is discipline is more important than motivation. Motivation is a myth. You don't necessarily need motivation to get things done. I'm not really motivated a lot, but I am disciplined, right? It's important for me to be impeccable with my word to myself and do what I say I'm going to do. My word is my bond to me and to whoever else I'm working with or for or serving. So discipline is more important than motivation. Don't beat yourself up if you're not motivated. Like, it's not really that necessary. I promise you. The next thing is done is better than perfect. Now, if you're just joining, I'm Dr. RJ. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, and I work with busy executives who want to eliminate stress, anxiety, and burnout. Just let you know who I am. Hey, 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 happy Tuesday. Let's talk about some strategies. Y'all ready to get into some strategies? Oh, before we get into strategies, if you're just joining, we also talked about 3 types of procrastinator. So go ahead and put yourself in one of the categories. There is the thrill seeker. I work better under pressure. I do my best work when the deadlines are tight. I beg to differ. That's false. It comes from a need of dopamine, a rush, that sort of thing. I can teach you other ways to get a dopamine rush and teach you other ways to have that sort of approval that you need when you're faced with a challenge. The next is the avoider. I'll do it later. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm going to do all the other things except for what I need to be doing right now. And then there's the snowman, not Jeezy the snowman, but the snowman where you're just frozen and you can't make a decision. Shout out to my October Libras. Y'all be acting like that sometimes. No shade. I love y'all, but it happens. All right. So let's talk about some strategies that you can take away. Actually, let me give something away real quick. All right. So I created a free mental health guide for busy professionals. So let's say, for example, you're on this live or you're driving or you're listening. You're like, Dr. RJ, I can't remember all this stuff, but I do want better mental health. I do want to be more productive. I do want to have balance. I do want to actually enjoy the life that I worked so hard to build. Then I got something for you. So you can text Be Well, BEWELL, Be Well to 833-451-4258 for your free mental health guide. I created it. It's super dope. I know you'll love it. It's free, no strings attached. So just text Be Well, BEWELL to 833-451-4258. That's your free mental health guide for busy professionals. All right, so let's get into some strategies. So I think it's important that as a therapist, as a psychologist, as a scientist, as a neuroscience nerd, someone who is true to this, not new to this. I've been a psychologist for most of my adult life. I think it's important to have real life strategies, not just textbook things or theories of how this might work, but things that you can actually take away. So y'all ready for some strategies, for some takeaways? Let's get it done. The first is to delegate. Delegate any and everything that you can. In other words, get somebody else to do it. Delegate. Now, for me, I'm not a fan of laundry. If you followed me on the social platforms, you know, I don't really fool with laundry like that because let me tell you the story why. So I have a 16-year-old daughter and an almost 13-year-old son. And when my son was about 3 or 4, I started my private practice in 2012. So I don't have time to do the math, but he was little. Old enough, though, his head came to the bed. So how many of you have a room in your house, a guest room, a closet somewhere where you do your laundry and then the laundry just piles up on the bed? So you're like, okay, I washed it. Like, I don't mind doing laundry. I washed it. It's done. But then it just hangs out in another room. It's just piled up and the mountain gets taller and taller and taller and taller. Well, that's the life that I was living. I had expectations that I would get the laundry done because it's just laundry, right? I have wash and dryer upstairs. It's easy to get to. It's lazy. lazy to not get the laundry done when everything is right here. It's not like back in the day when I was growing up and we had to go to the laundromat, right? It's just super easy. Laundry right here. Okay, stay with me. So one day, when kids are little, they play all these sports. My kids do all the things. And so my son was playing soccer. He may or may not be watching. So I'll say playing soccer. But when they're 3 and 4, they don't really play. They run around in circles. They look up at the sky. They cry. They fall. They ask for snacks. And then they pass out for a nap. Like that's what they were doing at this age. So anyhow, he had a soccer match or game that morning. And he goes into the room and there's the pile of clothes like this big, like taller than my baby, way taller. And he starts crying and he says, I can't find any of my shorts, right? And so me, back then, before I was the Dr. RJ that I am now, who's nice and balanced and I delegate, back then I was super stressed and that took me over the edge. Believe it or not, it sent me into tears, right? I know those of you who know me, you're like, for real? Yes, for real. It was stressful. There was a lot going on. And since then, I was like, you know what? I ain't fooling with laundry no more. I can get somebody else to do it, especially if you live in a city. I mean, there are all types of ways to get your laundry done. This is just one example of how and why you should delegate things. So for me, it's laundry. For you, it might be a housekeeper, or it might be a driver, or it might be someone to check your emails, or it might be having your hairstylist come to your house to braid your hair instead of you going to the shop, or it can be any of those things. But find out what you can delegate and then do it. Right? So the first strategy in eliminating or reducing procrastination is to get this to-do list down even smaller by delegating. You'll hear me talking about a priority matrix. We're not going to talk about that much today, but stick with me. You'll hear me talking about it another day where you make a decision in your priority matrix. Like, does it have to be done now? Is it urgent? And then I'll tell you what to do based upon the based upon the task. Okay. So long story short, in order to eliminate or reduce your procrastination, delegate, get somebody else to do it. It doesn't have to be laundry. That's just my thing. For some of you, it might be a chef or meal prep, or it might be getting your services to come to your house. It might be changing your nail salon to a place like right around the corner instead of 45 minutes away because you've been going to that tech forever. Whatever it is, delegate, reduce your to-do list, okay? Next strategy, eliminate distractions. Now, I don't really like distractions. I don't like to be interrupted. I'm a laser focused kind of girl. I like my structure. And I'm easily distracted, which is probably why I don't really fool with distractions. So how to eliminate distractions? One tip is that you can turn off your notifications for a certain amount of time, maybe a 2-hour time block. The Pomodoro method says you can do 30 minutes up to 2 hours or whatever. I like 2-hour time blocks because it takes me a while to get focused and really get into the groove, but it just depends on your lifestyle, what you do, that sort of thing. So turn off your notifications. If you have an iPhone, we use the focus feature. And I love the focus feature because you can customize it in a way that emergency calls or calls from your kid's school or from your parents or your best friend or whoever, whatever's happening, those calls can come through and then everything else can be silent. Now, I'll tell y'all this, people get banned from my focus feature all the time. My husband, my kids, my bestie. I'm just like, if you don't use the focus feature right, like if you're calling me and texting me and all the things, then you will be banned from the focus feature. So eliminate distractions. I'm giving you permission to eliminate distractions. All right. So think about that. When you're working on something, when it's time to laser focus in, when you really want to get things done, you want to eliminate distractions. Most of the time, our distraction is in our mobile device. Okay. Sometimes it can be other people, other things. You may need to go into a closed room. You may need to sit in your car. Whatever it is, eliminate distractions. The next thing is that you want to reduce the number of decisions you need to make. So our brain gets worn out. We wake up in the morning and you got to make 5,000 decisions right away. That's a lot. So we're going to be tired before the day even starts, which then triggers procrastination because we've used up all of our resources. So one of the things you can do in the morning or the night before is to reduce the number of decisions you have to make by creating a routine. That routine might be my business advisor. We talk all the time about this billionaire black tea, this billionaire black tea. So the billionaires, they just wear black tea in the morning. That saves time. They don't have to think about what they're wearing, right? And so that might be something for you. Shout out to Marquel and the billionaire black tea. That may be something for you. Just say, okay, I'm going to wear a button down and jeans, or I'm just going to wear, what do you call it? Like a cardigan and a skirt. Like that's going to be my uniform for the day. Cut down on the things you have to decide on. Plan your meals. So sometimes we get bored with meals, but that's one way to really be productive. I don't want to have to think every single day what I'm going to have for dinner or lunch or all the things. It takes up unnecessary brain space. So figure out where you need additional brain spaces, different for everybody, and create a routine where you're doing the same thing to be more effective. Okay, that's another strategy you can use in order to reduce procrastination. Part of the reason we procrastinate is not because we're lazy, y'all. Nope, it's because there's too much to do. And a lot of that is our fault. We're creating all these extra things to do. So take a look at what you're doing, take a look at your routine and see where the unnecessary brain space is being used. So follow a routine, automate as much as possible. Another thing you can do, and this is a little bit controversial, I love it, it works for me, it's called the do nothing alternative. Okay, so here we go. Y'all ready? In order to reduce procrastination, let's say you have a task. My task might be, oh, RJ, write a chapter of the book that you're going to be working on. Okay, that might be something. And so the do nothing challenge or the do nothing task is that either I write the chapter or I do nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean nothing. I don't mean scrolling Instagram. I don't mean like looking at TikTok. I don't mean being on the phone and chilling. I don't mean sending reels to my group chat. Nothing. Like literally do nothing. Sit there and do nothing or do your task. I'm telling you, it works because what happens is we'll have a task to do. And then in order to satisfy that need to get things done, we start doing all kinds of other things. And it's not just y'all, it's me too. Like I have a lot of plants at home in Atlanta. And I'll water my plants. I'll check the soil. I'll go wipe them off. I'll go talk to them, do all the things except for what I'm supposed to be doing. So if I'm using the do nothing alternative, then I don't have the luxury of going to avoid my task and do all these other things and satisfy my need for dopamine in that manner. So that's another strategy. Do nothing. So do your task, your main task, or even your top three, because I believe in threes. Do your top three or your main task, or do nothing at all. Don't try to substitute and do all these other things, because then you get a false sense of accomplishment. And that's how you end the day, but nothing has been done. Let me repeat that for y'all. If you set a task and allow yourself to do all these other things except for the task, it gives you a false sense of accomplishment. And then you end your day and nothing has been accomplished. Nothing has gotten done. And if that happens over and over and over and over, it can be really defeating. And that's where the anxiety and the stress builds up. All right. here's another strategy. I got two more for y'all, and then I'm going to love you and leave you. Okay. If you're just joining, I'm Dr. RJ, licensed clinical psychologist. Oh, I was doing some giveaways before. Gifts is my love language. So let me give away this free mental health guide that I created for busy health professionals. All you have to do is text Be Well to 833-451-4258. Text Be Well to 833-451-4258 for your free mental health guide for busy professionals. So Dr. RJ, I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, and I help busy executives eliminate stress, anxiety, and burnout so that they can actually enjoy the lives that they worked so hard to build. Okay. And yes, I do have a private practice. I do see clients one-on-one. I also do speaking and coaching, and I'm an author and all the things. So make sure you stay tuned because I have all kinds of mental health tips and wellness tips to get y'all through. All right. So last two strategies, we're talking about going from being a procrastinator to a producer. And this is not to guilt you. We all struggle with it in one way or another. This is to give us some real life strategies that we can use right now in order to turn the flywheel or to make a 2 millimeter shift, to make some sort of adjustment towards more productivity, less stress, more balance. When I talk about balance, I don't mean like a straight line. I mean like a constant calibration. Like you're adjusting. Constant calibration is kind of like in my house, I'm the one who controls the heating and air. And so I'm like, ooh, 70 is this. Let me try 69. Let me try 68. Nope, that's too cold. Let me go back to 69. That constant calibration to finding just where things should be. All right. So the last two strategies, which will help you with procrastination, is to use a 5-minute rule. This really helps if you are a caregiver, if you're a parent, if you're taking care of anybody at all, whether it's your own parents, whether it's your kids, whether it's nieces and nephews or whoever. This really helps because you probably have a long list of things that you have to do every single day. So use a 5-minute rule. If it can be done, so for me, if something can be done in 5 to 10 minutes, then it cannot go on my to-do list. I do it right then and there. So let's say I'm in a meeting with my staff. I'm like, nope, let's pull out, we use Monday.com. Let's pull it out and do it right now. It's going to take 5 minutes. Let's get it done. And then everybody's relieved. You're not leaving the meetings with all these things that have to get accomplished. Same thing for running errands. If it takes you 5 minutes to make your kid's dentist appointment online, go ahead and do it. Like, knock it out. Don't put it on your to-do list. So if it takes 5 minutes or less, sometimes I'll say 10 minutes. So 5 to 10 minutes or less, do it right then in the moment, knock it out. I always tell myself I do not want to end the day with a super long to-do list. Like, that's a nightmare for me. So I knock out the small things. All right. The final one, which is my favorite, I saved my best strategy for last, and then I'm going to love you and leave you. All right. It is to use your calendar for everything. Okay. Let your calendar be your board of directors. Often high performers, high achievers, those who are used to multitasking, have a habit of keeping things in their brain. So it's kind of like, oh, I can remember this. I can remember that. Part of that is that there's some sort of internal reward for remembering a whole bunch of things. But like, it ain't no real reward for that, y'all. Like, it's false. Nobody's going to come up to you and give you a gold medal or a gold star for holding a whole bunch of stuff in your brain. No rewards for that. Put it on a calendar. Write it down. Give your brain a break. Use your brain for more high-functioning tasks. Use your brain for your zone of genius. Use your brain for things that nobody else can do. Your brain's too fancy to just be holding on to all these tasks and these to do. So use your calendar for every single thing. Now, I was talking to one of my clients today, and she said she likes to do things by a to-do list. Cool. So I said, pull out your calendar and block off a 2-hour time period to tackle parts of your to-do list. It's fine to do it like that, but block everything off on your calendar so that you can have a true picture of what you're actually doing. Often when I ask people what's stressing them, they slow down and they're like, oh, well, this and this and this and this and this. And you're walking around, you don't even realize all the things you're holding in your head and in your heart. And so when we use our calendars as a strategy, when we use our calendars as our board of directors, then we get a visual of what's going on. And so some high performers or people I work with will say, I don't like my calendar all crowded. Well, that means you're doing too much. So stop doing all the things, and your calendar doesn't have to be crowded. It needs to be visual. You need to have a true representation of what you're actually doing during the day. So if you can figure out a way to merge your calendars where you can see your personal and professional things all in one place or in one area, that will definitely help you with procrastination, because one, you won't overschedule or overbook. And two, you will be able to see how to manage your time and what you can knock out. And three, you'll see available spaces where you can actually get things done. Did I do it in 30 minutes? Okay, 32 minutes. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So that's it, y'all. I'm Dr. RJ, licensed clinical psychologist. Today, we talked about going from being a procrastinator to a producer. Thank you, thank you, thank you for hanging out with me. I will see you soon. Make sure you follow me at Ask Dr. RJ, AskDrRJ, everywhere for all kinds of good mental health, wellness tips, and things to keep us productive and balanced and really just living a good life. Like, I'm all about the good life. That's not, I actually live the life that I talk about. There's nothing fake or false about it. And I believe that we all are capable of living our versions of a good life. It's going to be different for everybody. That's a whole different topic. We'll talk about that another time. So stay tuned. All right. Gonna love y'all and leave y'all. Bye.